Right, welcome to knowledge. And this one's about Rhea, right? Which is also spelled as Rhea like that, right? As you can see here, a lot of stuff about the lion, Masonic stuff, right? The Rhea family, the surname Rhea Cumberland, the William the Lion idea, right? Of course, some code there with a 1214. More stuff. Yeah, so this name of Rhea, right, is quite a big name, quite an important name to them. The Rhea, right? Here's one, the Rhea of Italy. Rhea Silvia, Vestal Priestess. Now the Vestal idea that they were the transes. Mother of Romulus and Remus. Like Rod Hull and Emu. Very, very one of the big names for the Kurds. Right? Rhea or Rhea. See, right? Where this Rhea or Rhea comes from, right? Comes from treasure, right? King's treasure. So there's your Rhea. Rhea, right? The king's treasure. So like the idea of treasure and buried treasure and all these type of things. Like treasure is obviously your whole wealth is built up off treasure, right? It's Chris Rea, right? Chris Rea or Chris Rea coming from the treasure, right? One of their dirty teas. And one of their royal tea drinkers. See here, Chris Rea or Chris Rea, right? Christopher Anton Rea. Antonine, remember, is reversed. So a reversed tea drinker, right? And the treasure. Middlesbrough. The middle. Years out of 1973. It's one of their tea drinkers. And the duet with Elton John. So obviously banging with the royal tea drinkers. You always see secrets of the British royal family's richest treasures. The crown jewels, of course, that's where you get the jewel idea. The jewel is the jewels, and the Rhea is in the treasures, right? The Rhea, or the Rhea is in the treasures. Rhea. So of course, lots of treasure. They have lots of treasure. Robbery of the King's treasure at Westminster Abbey. 13 who are free, 1 free who are free for 7. And 6 of the 6. So you can see the treasure idea, right? And as you can see, right, they always made movies and stories about treasure, buried treasure, and like blokes looking for a hidden treasure and stuff like that. They always made stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because they're obsessed by a type of thing like treasure. So obviously now your royal house must have a stash of sort of treasure. Yeah, amassed from, wherever, like, you know what I mean? A lot of treasure ideas, obviously Treasure Island and that. Yeah, lots of stuff like that. Treasure of the Yankee Zephyr and all that, say similar stuff. treasure of the Yankee Zephyr. You're so obsessed by his treasure idea, T. Rear. Right? Here's your Treasury, Government UK. Right? Treasury. Of course, in America, they've got Treasury Department, that type of thing. The US Department of the Treasury. General for Tax Administration, right? So obviously, the treasure and the tax, taxing people and that is linked to the idea of hidden treasure and buried treasure and sort of, these pirate ideas and all that, right? Simple as that, like, isn't it? Treasury, the Exchequer, the checkerboard, see, the black and white checkerboard, and the X, Horse Guards Road, Treasury, US Department of Treasury. See, they were this Treasury stuff. 11 Downing Street. Of course, here's this Crying Game, right, which is a very famous movie. Basically about trans, isn't it? It's about a trans, right? It's directed by Neil Jordan, so the Trans Jordan, right? Installing Stephen Rea, like the treasure, right? The Rea, and J. Davidson. So the J is basically like the Jason, or the Janus, or the James, and the David is the dual visage, the two-face. So you've got like a sort of double two-face idea, and that's the trans. J. Davidson is the trans one, isn't it? Very coded, like, as you can see, is Stephen Rea. Stephen Rea's performance. As you see, I read a Baron Rea in the county of Cumberland, peerage in the United Kingdom. Nicholas Rea, 3rd Baron. So it's, quite an important, supposedly quite an important type of, name to these tea drinkers, right? Rea. Betty Rea. And Philip Russell Rea. Here's Nicholas Rea, the 3rd Baron. Still going today, say that, this Baron title. Member of the House of Lords. James Russell Rea. The Christ College, Cambridge again. Royal College of Practitioners. The Royal Society of Medicine. Very prestigious. Yeah, you have the other spelling of it, right? Ted Rea. So again, the T Rea, right? Referring to the treasure, right? And the comedian who was around from 1905 through to 77, right? Dorothy Sybil Stevens. On their T's, no doubt about it. Ted Rea, golfer. Robin Rea, broadcaster Robin Rea. There's an interesting little thing, the Voodoo Rea. A guy called Gerald. Basically 777 code. guy called Gerald. The voodoo rear. Obviously voodoo tying in with hex and spells and all that, right? Voodoo rear. So one of their treasures, see? One of their little treasures. Warlock. Of course, male version of a witch. Royal House. There you go, eh? Morris Levi and the Royal House. Warlock Records. Adam Levi. So these will be full of hex, right? These will be full of hex, no doubt about it. Morris Levi. And the Royal House. The Royal House, eh? Morris Levi, right? Moshe born Moshe Levi in Harlem. Birdland. T-Birds. The Field of Jazz. Moshe O'Moore. Of course, with Treasure Island. You also have the usury type of thing in Treasury, right? Usury, which is an interesting thing, like, usury, because the, what do you call it, the Quran or something is against usury or something, right? That's like a different story, right? This is obviously Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. A very famous book in that. Robert Louis Stevenson. Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, of course, Jekyll and Hyde's about the tea drinking portions. So this here character was obviously tea drinker. Stephen, of course, the 7, and the T, ST, and the Eve. Very good, right? Of course, the pirate side, yeah, I love the pirate side, yeah. And the Sea Cook. The Buccaneers. Very good. So love these type of ideas within this royal court type of thing. Mark with an X. Of course.